Good morning. It's 30 October, 10:30, 2022. I wanted to make a quick video here and talk about uh, dietary guidance that we've received for Ascension. And I want to combine that with some fundamental information that we know about our DNA and how it supports us in spirit and mind and body. We are spirit ultimately, and it's quantum because our DNA is resonant from the sun through the central sun, and we're actually receiving upgrades right now. And it's difficult for a carbon-based surface walking human meat suit to believe that, because we have been beaten down that far in carbon. So that's an essential component. Let me try and stay fairly quick as far as getting through this, but you'll find it interesting. So this is from the Kaya Ra. This is from the Sophia code, and those are electrons by number that were listed in the nucleotides of our DNA: carbon, nitrogen, and hydrogen. So I'm staying very fundamental. These are nucleotides: adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Very fundamental. So, having said that, I want to transition over to fundamental components for diet, but I want to expand a little more on the chemistry of our DNA. Okay, this is a good illustration because it portrays the way that those nucleotides are linked together. And the key spiral that you see on a typical DNA strand is phosphorus. So that's listed by the P that links them both together. So imagine these two respective things twirled around, and then everything's linked up accordingly. So you can see that the two pair, the primary pair that work together are the A and the T, adenine and thymine, and cytosine and guanine. You can see that in the pairs. But the important point I want to make is that phosphorus is a linked piece. When I did a brief the other day, I wasn't prepared to talk about phosphorus, and I'm still not totally schooled up. But I'll tell you what, it's all about the 555 with the way that things are going to be detonated, for lack of a better term. Because when you get down to these atomic numbers to reduce, you got to get down to 555 with adenine. And what you find out is that phosphorus is actually got an atomic number of 15. So that breaks down to 555. Now, I wanted to show you this chart. I hope it'll pop open for me. Good. So here's, just very quickly, I may come back to this, but atomic number, note the colors, and note these terms at the bottom. Okay, take a picture of this and become familiar with those, the legend at the bottom. So the dark green images are non-metal diatomic. And you can see you've got nitrogen and oxygen and key components in there. And over here is hydrogen. So you've got, we know that the only one that's not dark green you can see is carbon. And we know that ultimately we're getting rid of it, but carbon is also considered a polyatomic non-metal versus a metal. So you've got metals and non-metals in this group. Here's phosphorus over here, as a similar component to carbon. And I just want to make the point about how many different kinds of chemicals, if you're breathing them and absorbing them, they're factored into the complications of your DNA. I'm not going to break all that complication down. I want to stay very basic for us as ascended beings, going back to water. Okay, I'm going to come back to biochemistry, but I want to talk about diet. I put this on a fast speed so it would go quick. This is Archangel Michael from Awakening You, talking about our refined diet, and I learned something. So please listen to this, and you can read it.
In the process of changing your diet, begin to eat more vegetables, more green foods that create well-being for your physical vessel. There are foods that are considered acidic, and foods that are considered alkaline. Eat more of the alkaline foods, and begin to release the need to eat meats, and dairy products, alcohol, and sweets. You do not need to go through this process all at once. Begin with the thought form, and allow it to permeate your consciousness, to grow, and soon it will manifest for you. The beloved animals have been in service to humanity for much longer than you know, and much longer than was intended. They agreed to be in service to you, for you to nourish your physical vessels, until the time when this was no longer needed or necessary. That time is approaching, dear ones. The blessed animal kingdom is ascending also, and it is time to release them from their contract to humanity. All.
Okay, so that's pretty quantum right there. The animals are forgiving us. They're second density consciousness, and they have a chance. They're just behind us in the rotation. So we guard them, we take care of our domestic pets, and just like the angels take care of us, but it's way more quantum up at our level. So that was some dietary guidance, which prompted me to do some research and start breaking things out, which I'm doing for you right now at a very basic level. So we're being told, drop the dairy, drop the eggs, drop the alcohol. I quit drinking. The dairy and the eggs thing hurts a little bit for me. I like ice cream and stuff. And they said go at your own pace. So don't torture yourself, but introduce the thought that you want to ascend and that you want to be the best version of possible in accord with what our Creator wants. Once you plant that seed for yourself, you'll start moving in this direction. Remember now, back here to Normal Town, you start eating pork, animals, dairy, eggs, things like that, we already know that your cholesterol goes up, probably from the high acidity content in the foods that are being consumed. Then we're at the neutral level. These are potatoes and rice and starches and natural sugars and natural fats. Okay, these are okay to eat because they're neutral. I'm back to the scale now because we were just told to lose this. This is kind of tied to carbon if you want to look at it that way. And more animalistic. It's animal related. Now we're back into nature and plants, but in terms of alkaline, they're considered neutral. These are the accompanying things, right? The rice accompanies the broccoli and the carrots. So we already know this, and the point would be eat it in moderation. All the people in Asia get diabetes because they chow down on the rice like there's no tomorrow. So it's all about balance, but this part needs to go away. So on to alkaline. This is a pH value above 7. That's why I wrote this up here. So you've got vegetables, which is green foods. There's no news here, guys. It's high in alkaline. Fruits, nuts, legumes, and then interestingly, I put this here for a reason that I'll point out to you. Obviously, the vegetables also, they're not green, but they contain natural findings of beryllium. And I'll talk to that in a minute, just because I think it's worthy. To make a general statement, we're going from carbon-based to crystalline-based. Okay? Yeshua is Christed. The crystal as a model for us to work from is going to be done down at the submicroscopic level, at the adamantine particle level, because we are going immortal and this transformation is going to occur. So I encourage you to be a part of it and not pass away. We're going to New Earth. It's multi-dimensional living on Gaia. So with this composition will have the capacity, much of which will be rediscovered because our DNA is dormant. So it's going to be a combination of rediscovering and discovering anew with all the experience that we've had to date. To digress quickly, this is my content on social media. Okay? You can click notify if you're going to subscribe to my YouTube account because they shadow ban me, so you have to click the bell, and then if I publish a video, you'll know that it comes in. If you wish to like it, that's nice, but it's not super critical because I know you like it. I'm on BitChute as Hillbilly Mac. I'm on Gab TV as Hillbilly Mac. I like Gab because there's no middleman for uploading, and I like BitChute because pretty much both of them will let you publish good stuff. I haven't had anything turned down from them for a long time, and the one that they did, I think they would rethink. Lastly, I'm on Facebook as So Far So Good. So you can follow me there, and I get kicked off Facebook too and get put in trouble, but that's me. Okay, so allow me to come back to this chart again. As I mentioned earlier, the Earth's vibration is going up. The Schumann resonance is going up. So the back and forth on everything, to include your body and your feelings, needs to start to increase. And it's happening anyway. And the more crap you have in your body, the less you're going to be able to handle things. And then you'll just miss it and die, and the rest of us are ascending. So I want to stay at a very fundamental level in explaining some of the things I discern from just looking at this chart. Remember, we want to stay close to nature, and we want to stay close to Earth. And we know that hydrogen and oxygen is us at the fundamental level, and those are listed as components here. In Kaya Ra's book, when Hathor talks to us about breaking things down to the electron level, that we then have the authority to go back into those dimensional realities to repair ourselves. We're down here at this level, and oxygen is added at, at the thymine level. So you've got hydrogen and oxygen down here. It's this basic component, and then it's added here. But my point is that I'm staying at a very fundamental level with these, call them 4 components, plus the phosphorus that I described earlier, as a way to stay with the basics. So back to my chart here. You see phosphorus and carbon are listed up here, and they're listed as polyatomic nonmetals. Okay, now the additions of our diet and the consumption, we learned about the need for alkaline products. And alkaline isn't a chemical, so you have to figure out where the alkalinity is contained within these substances. So, what do you know? The scientists figured out that there are alkaline earth metals, and this chart has been adjusted accordingly. So, having said that, I naturally think about the lower you go on the atomic number, the better. You get up here at radium, I mean, that's raw, but I don't know that that necessarily means that. So staying in that column, you see calcium and magnesium, both of which we know are good for us. So my inclination is to say, okay, remember that as far as those things go when you're looking at things out there that are safe, to use a word, for your ascension. Obviously you're dealing right there with those. Now you get into beryllium and you're into a whole new ball of wax. As low as that thing is, it's a rock. And my point is, I'm going to show you something. So because this substance is essentially, I guess you could say it's a metal. Well, I'll go back and look, but it's alkaline based, and it's definitely a rock. But it's also found, it says here, found naturally in some food, specifically carrots and field corn. We know the corn is like dynamite in terms of our sustenance. So whether the beryllium belongs there as a natural result of the earth including it in the food source, or it needs to go away, I'm not sure. I'm not going to start eating beryllium rocks. I'm just pointing out that at the fundamental level, it appears there, and so it's probably, a positive thing to eat. And the scientists that know better will be able to tell us those kind of things. Okay, the last point that I want to make is an astrotheological point. Remember now that our sun feeds us. Okay, here's the central sun up in Sirius C, and here's our sun, and it feeds us this information. We're morphing away from carbon, and I want you to let you know that early this year, when there was a conjunction with Jupiter and Neptune in Aquarius, we were given, because we're in the age of Aquarius rising, carbon as our fundamental base composition from a 666 standpoint in our bodies has been, the beginning of transformation has occurred, and the chemical composition that we ascended are running around with right now is 616. We lost 5 neutrons in that process. And so the guidance that we've got is to drink a lot of water, because then the neutrons from the H2O supplement that carbon portion that's been tweaked. So that's the way that the mathematical evolution is going to occur in order for us to get to be crystalline beings, because we're moving from carbon to crystalline, and we're going to enjoy multi-dimensional living when we get there. It's going to be beyond words, and these are the things that we're going to experience as our DNA wakes up, either by sitting out in the sun and staring at it, or discerning it by losing words and becoming enlightened on your own natural path of meditation, or, which is coming either way, a big X-class flash, which is going to push all the slow group in awakening and give them a shot to participate, because we all deserve it. So as we move into this new realm, we're going to be given new gifts and new abilities, telepathic, and all this dormant awakening is going to bring back where we've been and where we're going. And all you have to do is love yourself, love the fact that you're here, and love your neighbor, your fellow human. And not only that, love everything. Learn to thank the water because it's consciousness. When you find out where you were and what you've been, it is going to give you a new appreciation for how we fit in around here and the gifts we've been given to comprehend it and manage it. It's incredible. And just a few years ago, we were all just normal voters. So have a great day. I love everybody.